What do you call me?
Yeah, you heard.
Welcome to the Snap UK. We are here at the lab where we create audio dreams.
Audio dreams and teeth.
And teeth. Yeah, so we're here at Dentotech. And I'm joined by
Free
Jim.
plug.
I know, yeah. Well, I'm going to invoice him.
All right, cool.
I'm here with Jim and Michael.
Hiya.
Riff, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, good New Year.
I mean,
Because you weren't here. You weren't here last week.
I wasn't. My New Year was spent with my sister, watching the telly, watching the Hootenanny, which I have never watched,
Oh,
and didn't realise it wasn't live.
No, God, nothing's live these days.
No, I didn't realise that. No, but I've never watched it,
ah.
and she wanted to watch that.
Were
so.
you a big fan of Rod Stewart?
No, I don't like. I mean, I don't mind the old stuff, but I don't like Rod Stewart trying to do jazz.
It's rubbish.
I recognised Joss Stone. I was impressed with myself.
Yeah.
And I was a big fan of whoever the lady was that covered "You Can't Hurry Love." That was a brilliant cover.
Okay.
I don't know. It was a young person. I'm going to say her name was Olivia Dean. But
Mike's daughter.
yeah, that's it. Mike Dean's daughter. I have no idea, but it was a brilliant, brilliant cover. And
It was Olivia Dean.
I've done well there because that's a young person reference.
Nice. Oh, there you go. I watched it as well.
Yeah.
I was felt really rough, but I just watched it.
Oh no, I felt fine. But my sister was lonely, so I invited her around to.
Oh, that's nice.
Not really. We didn't speak to each other. We just watched
Just
it.
sat-
Yeah, just hootenanny. I ate cheese.
Yeah. But can you be lonely with us? Yeah. Well, that's enough for this week.
No, bear stuff has happened, man. Bear stuff has
I
happened.
know it's been an exciting couple of days.
Literally exciting couple of hours.
Yeah. So beep, 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 breaking news.
That stutter's getting worse.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll has been yeeted out of Seattle. Literally just on our way over here.
Yeeted
So-
out or has ceremonially stepped upstairs?
I think that's yet to be confirmed.
It appears
I
that he
imagine
is
it.
I
going
think
to
it's
be
the
there.
latter. I think
Yeah.
he is going upstairs.
So do
to-
I.
In some sort of role, Tom Coughlin type advisory.
Yeah.
role, which I'm never a big fan of.
No.
Because I never think it works. It just creates a big shadowy hangover for the
Yeah,
the
power
next coach.
vacuum and-
Yeah,
A bit like Elway in the Broncos.
yeah.
It doesn't really work.
Bit like Matt Busby in Man United.
Absolutely.
That's the one I always think of, or Shankly at Liverpool.
Yeah.
But still, surprised to see him go. Like most, we'll come and talk about them. Most of the firings and leavings, I think we most people predicted, or you hear whispers about it at least. Nothing. There was nothing about Pete Carroll until Schefter dropped the.
But
bomb
maybe
he's gone.
is that because Pete Carroll has decided
Yeah,
I've reached the end, or
He is the oldest coach in the league,
he is.
famously.
Is he the third longest tenured or second longest tenured
He
after
must be up there.
Belichick and Tomlin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because when did he take over? 2011?
Yep.
It's 14 years. 14 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, earlier then.
So yeah, it's going to be a loss for the league. Really,
I think it could be a loss for the Seahawks. Like, they've been competitive without the best team
Yep.
for a long time. They got rid of Russell Wilson and remained competitive. Like, all right.
technically got better
Yeah.
for a year.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm hoping that it's a Pete Carroll move rather than a Seahawks move. Because I think otherwise that's a bit of a poor indictment on management. And we're about to discuss another chap who's been gotten rid of that I think is a poor indictment on what the team is.
Terrible
trying to
indictment. Dan Quinn's the favourite to take over, the defensive coordinator of the Cowboys, but he also was defensive coordinator of the Seahawks, I think, when they won the Super Bowl. So he knows the organisation.
Before he went to the Falcons.
Yeah, that's right. But he knows the organisation. It also makes sense that if Pete Carroll if it is a move upstairs, for them to bring in someone that he's worked with before, and also for that coach to come in and have someone upstairs that he's worked with before as well. It works both ways. That would make sense. I mean, to hell with the
It's
Rooney
funny,
Rule.
though, because Pete Carroll is bare old. You wouldn't think he'd be able to get upstairs.
They've got lifts.
That's true.
Chairlift. Stenner.
I mean, I just have to assume now there's going to be an executive box in Seattle just full of like chewing gum on the floor.
pacing marks
Yeah,
in the carpet.
exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, me and Jim were saying before, like we put together a running order. Jim's doing stuff for the website, and we both went. We could mention the fact that is this Pete Carroll's last hurrah, but it just seems so
It's abrupt, isn't it?
abrupt
Sudden,
and sudden. Like you're like, nah, that's not going to happen. And because I mean, I don't like having like a sort of a leaving tour, but it feels like there should be some sort of
Or is he just doing a better job than other people might have done of getting out while you're still relevant?
I think there's that as well. I think if you look at the team,
is that enough chances?
so if you look at that team, it's not in a full rebuild because, like you say, they've done well this year, all things considered. But it's also, it'd be a shock if they were a contending team, like a proper contending team for the Super Bowl next year.
If I was the Rams, Niners, and Cardinals, I'd be delighted right
absolutely.
now. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Because all of a sudden, you're 3 teams fighting for the playoffs probably rather than 4.
Yeah, because the Seahawks, if they do make a move at quarterback and they have made a move at head coach, that's going to take time to bed in. Mm-hmm. So that's at least one.
More
maybe 2
appointments go badly than go well.
100%, yeah.
So, well, not 100%, that'd be terrible. No one would ever stay anywhere.
That'd be close though.
But, yeah, if I were the other 3 teams, I'd be really pleased with this right now. Fair play to Pete Carroll, though. He's been relevant for a long time. He's managed to keep his message going despite the loss of his star quarterback and the Legion of Boom disintegrating. All the things we thought made up the Pete Carroll era all moved on before Pete Carroll, and yet they were still, most weeks, competitive.
Yeah.
They will, I always think if you're a fan of an NFL team, if your team is relevant going into December, I think that's good. I think, you're not going to win the Super Bowl every year. You're probably not going to be in the playoffs every year.
The league isn't designed for you to be in the playoffs every year.
So
if you have a
your team
50% success rate of getting in,
if your team is relevant in December, I think you're having entertainment wise, you're having a good time. That's good. And Seattle have, on the whole, always been relevant going into at least December, if not the final weekend of the league.
In a tough division as well.
Yeah.
Like the NFC West has had, the 49ers have been in 2 Super Bowls. Rams have been in 2. Like, it's
and the Cardinals.
and the Cardinals, but yeah.
2010?
No, it was after that, wasn't it? The Bruce Arians, 2013-14, they were...
Yeah, but they're in the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, sorry, they were in the Super Bowl, and then under Bruce Arians, they were making
good,
championship games.
So even a couple of years back, they started off 10-0, didn't they?
They did. Yeah, nothing was as good as glorious as the Carson Palmer era, because you knew they were going to flame out every time, but hey, it was glorious.
Yeah.
But it was a surprise, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Steve, his playoff actually for Seattle is better than a 50%. So he's missed the playoffs 1, 2, 3. This is only his 4th time he's missed the playoffs.
In 14 seasons.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
See, I think any team should be enamoured with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that is how the league is structured. Too many people look at 2000 to 2020 Patriots and go, "Oh, that's the bar. You've got to win the division every year."
It's an anomaly.
You can't. No one's done that since the 70s when the Steelers were winning everything. It's not a thing.
Yeah.
So if you get above 50% playoff ratio, you got to be pleased with that.
Oh God, yeah.
So, where else did you want to go with these hirings and mostly firings? It's not been a lot of hirings.
So should we start from the beginning?
Oh, okay.
1 minute past midnight on Black Friday. Black Friday?
Monday.
Black Monday.
don't go back to Black Friday.
Jeez.
Just got over Christmas, not going all the way back there.
So 1 minute past midnight.
And the most predictable firing of them all.
I don't think it was.
Well, after what happened?
Still, though, in comparison to the other firing, I think that was the most predictable one.
Hang on.
Right, so I think Ron Rivera going was the most predictable.
It was the most predictable.
Yes. Okay. So that one.
I agree with you.
I felt that was pre-prescribed.
Actually, I thought that's it. It was the most obvious, but also the way that the Falcons' season ended with him on the field,
effing and jeffing at Dennis Allen.
And Dennis Allen, who had no idea what the fuck was going on.
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, let's get to that.
But I love the idea that Jameis Winston got Arthur Smith fired.
Yeah. But yeah, so he got literally 1 minute past midnight. Arthur Blank and the Falcons set out their thing. Smith is no more. And yeah, literally,
It's the right move.
It
Yeah.
absolutely is.
So he's done nothing to help the development of Ridder.
No.
Right now, I don't think Ridder's a good quarterback.
No.
But they've done nothing to help that. They did nothing with their decision making. They chopped and changed 4 times this season starting
For
quarterback.
me, that's the big thing. All right, if Ridder is not your quarterback, fine, make the change and then
Go to Heineke and
it.
stick to it.
Don't go back and forth, and that's not going to help anyone, at least not your own job prospects.
But they did the same last year. They just sort of moved around.
Yeah.
They had completely underutilized Robinson.
Yep.
Basically, the offense this year stank.
Yeah.
They've never developed Kyle Pitts properly.
Or Drake London.
Drake
London's
London.
Not the receiver.
These players on the Cowboys or the Niners or something, they're star players.
Yeah.
They're league-leading players.
Yeah, absolutely.
And on the Falcons, they are an afterthought.
They've got the Falcons, like you say, they've got a great tight end. They've got potentially a great tight end, potentially a great wide receiver, and potentially a great running back.
They've got a great stable of running backs.
Yeah, exactly.
And
they've got a great offensive line. So even without a star quarterback, the offense should have been better than it was, and the defense was decent.
The thing is, they moved on from Matt Ryan when Matt Ryan didn't want to move on. Now, admittedly, Matt Ryan was becoming statuesque.
They also got screwed. He got a bit pissed off because they were in the Deshaun Watson stage
Yeah,
as well.
but see, they fluffed their lines with that one and then tied themselves to quarterbacks who aren't good enough. They probably would have been better off sticking with Matt Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, would he have been worse than Heineke and Ridder?
No, you look at what Joe Flacco's doing now. I always thought Matt Ryan was better than Joe Flacco.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Certainly more consistent.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco maybe had the biggest peak out of the two of them, but the Joe Flacco resurgence has
it's been
lifted my faith in humanity.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just brilliant that he's in the playoffs.
It's the main reason I'm watching this weekend.
Absolutely. We'll get to that, but I will be cheering him on. It's the first time I've been able to cheer for the Browns in years.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Absolutely.
Anyway, back to Arthur Smith.
Right, so,
Yeah.
I mean, has Arthur Smith done anything in 3 seasons to make you think he should be a head coach?
Been 7-10, 7-10, 7-10. All right, it's consistent, but there's no gradual improvement.
Is he the modern day Jeff Fisher?
Yeah, more or less.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's exactly
And
it.
they both have moustaches.
Yeah. Couldn't coach an offense properly.
I mean, it's
So bland.
when they drafted Bijan Robinson, you just thought, excellent. Arthur Smith's got his running back. Here we go. And fucking hell. I spent $60 in an auction league on Bijan Robinson.
No.
I mean, the fact that they were 1 yard from the Saints line this week, and in the 4 downs, they never once went to Bijan Robinson. Like,
That's just, I mean,
it's
that's tantamount to not going to Marshawn Lynch on the touchdown.
Imagine that.
Yeah,
Should get sacked for that.
should do.
he will, like 7 years later. But yeah, no, it's 9 years. Fucking hell. Some coaching performances, you look at it and you go, that's just an invitation to be fired. And
the flip flopping is what has done it. I don't think Arthur Blank likes to fire people. I think he likes to give them the opportunity. But what chance? And again, Arthur Blank is another one of these very rich, very old guys who has a limited time left to see his team win the Super Bowl, like Jerry Jones, and name another. And so they can't be as patient as they once were. Try and think of Robert Kraft.
Robert Kraft, that's a good one. I mean, he's had his fair share.
Absolutely, but
Woody
he's more Woody Johnson. Like, so these guys don't have the time to sit on their hands and hope it works out.
Absolutely. They're picking 8th in the draft. You've got to think. Yeah, I think the Atlanta job is a good one to be going into, if you can solve the quarterback conundrum. And if you're picking 8th and you've got everything else, you've got to trade up, haven't you? the obvious thing to do. They've got to be one of those contenders to try and get up into that top 5 position. Bear in mind, the number 1 pick is probably going to be up for sale.
Yeah.
Based on the moves that the Bears have made, I think.
Yeah, I think do they move up or
I think you've almost
or can you just make a play for someone like Kirk who's going to be available in? I mean, admittedly he's coming back from a bad injury, but it's not like he was.
Movement has never been.
It's not like he's RG3. Yeah. So,
or do you go for Russell Wilson, who is out on his way out of Denver?
I think it depends who they go for as coach.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
So from what you just said there, this is an aside that I'm sure you'll get to, but are you convinced the Bears are sticking with Justin Fields?
I am. Yeah.
So the moves the Bears have made, they've come out, they said they're keeping Eberflus. They've got rid of the quarterback coach and they've got rid of the offensive coordinator. For me, that says, all right, we've done wrong by Justin Fields this year. We're going to bring in a new coaching regime around him. We're going to make it work. And I think in the last few weeks, probably the last 6-7 weeks of the season, I think he's done enough to justify his position. And the same with Eberflus as well. I thought Eberflus would be gone at the end of this year based on how the Bears started.
Yeah.
But I think, they've genuinely done enough. The defense has improved dramatically. It's now, I think, a top 5 defense in the league. And you can build around it. And you've, instead of going for a lottery pick or a draft pick, you've got Justin Fields, who's shown he can play.
Talent is there. Yeah. They've not utilised it consistently, even within the same game. That's the thing. They seem to have a handful of players that work, and then we'll hope the rest of it's okay.
Which is why they're going to revamp the 2 key pieces around Justin Fields or around the quarterback, whoever it might be.
Mooney's fine.
How's that going to help him?
But DJ Moore has been
Moore's been great.
Been a great, effectively was a first-round pick, but fine. Like,
got 2 top 10 picks as well.
Defense has got better. I'm not going to say that the Bears are good, but I think it's easier to build with Fields than it is to build it, try and build it again. But yeah, I've but based on the moves they've made, I think they're going around Field rather than trying to bring in,
So who is? I mean, and obviously this will apply to every position, but who's going to be the lead candidate for the Falcons' job? Because yes, there are some pieces there, but it's not a franchise historically that attracts people because they don't have a history of success. I think it's one of those places that you have to have a sweetener in there. And any job that comes without a quarterback in place is immediately more difficult.
I do agree with you. I think you touched on it earlier. I think the thing in their favour is that actually they're a well-run organisation. Like Arthur Blank rarely gets in the way. He rarely dictates as to we've seen things like David Tepper this year, Jim Irsay in the past for the Colts.
Dude threw a drink at a fan.
I know.
What a bell end.
You don't. When do you ever see Arthur Blank making headlines like Jerry Jones or Robert Kraft?
No, you don't.
But he doesn't get in the way. He lets the football people do the football. And I think just for that very reason, that creates a more attractive destination than, say, I don't know, the Titans.
So here's a name that took a bit of a nosedive this season that if I were Arthur Blank, would be interested in. Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah.
I've got him.
Because you are saying all the pieces, save the quarterback, are there on the offense. I want to see Eric Bieniemy in charge of a team, and I think maybe this should be or certainly one of the ones that should be looking at him, because it's a big enough name that people will respect it, but it's also a small enough name that taking the Falcons job is a good thing for somebody of that stature. It's not.
No, I agree with you. I think that's a good shout. I think they stick to an offensive side of things.
I think they need to.
I think most of the top teams at the moment have got an offensive head coach.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, certainly, whatever they're going to do with the quarterback position, you need somebody who can immediately tap into that. I actually think Russell Wilson is a really good shout. Like, Gary's not here. We can say this. Russell Wilson was really good this year.
I thought he was.
Really good. And the Broncos done him dirty.
Yeah.
Done him dirty.
100%.
Yeah.
Right? Sean Payton didn't want him. I genuinely believe he didn't want him.
Yeah.
Right? If I was Russell Wilson, I'd be saying, right, I will take that position at the Falcons. I will have their number one receiver and their potential number one tight end and their number one running back and also the backup running back who could be a number one on a number of other teams.
And the nice gadget player as
RB3
Yeah.
is also
Exactly.
great fun.
Yeah.
And I will turn that into a 10 or 12 win team.
Yeah.
Because that division
is still a weak division, yeah.
fucking awful. It's an awful, like that for me, that's the thing that has most done in someone like Arthur Smith is you were handed a division that I feel the three of us at this table could have coached
There was
10 wins in that.
They were more or less still in it in the last.
2 weeks ago.
They were in it until half time.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous.
And it's so this is the thing, like if Bieniemy can be enticed into this role and then you can get Russell Wilson and say to him, look, you've just been paid a shed load of money. Don't worry about the money. Think about the success you could have with this group of players. Take us to the playoffs. Take us to a Super Bowl. Because I still think the talent is there for that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the Falcons would be extremely relevant in an incredibly tepid division. That's what that is. That is a tepid division.
It doesn't look like
is.
getting any better either. That's the thing.
It's going to be...
Oh, it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
Like the teams are effectively in hell. I mean, the Falcons. If the Falcons make the right choice, be it Bieniemy, like take a chance on Ben Johnson. I don't know, like
He's got his pick of
yeah,
jobs.
yeah. But like they're there. If you could unlock like these offensive players, the defense is great. The defense is low key, really brilliant. They're just on the pitch all the fucking time because the quarterback keeps giving it to the other team.
Do you know what the other kind of real benefit of Eric Bieniemy would be in that Falcons team? He's a former running back coach.
Yeah.
And the only other one on the list that I put together on the running order, which Griff isn't looking at, is Bobby Slowick, the Texans' offensive coordinator, who was the running back coordinator in San Francisco before that.
Now, that's a great name because he's going to get a lot of plaudits for what the Texans have done. But he got any sense, you stay there and you grow with that Texans team.
I agree as well.
I don't think it's time to jump.
It's very early.
The enemy has to take his chance before he becomes irrelevant. That guy has got time.
He's got time.
Because CJ Stroud is going to buy you success.
But I'm saying, if you've got a star running back, and there are two potential head coaches available who have got a good resume of running. That's the French.
Resume.
Of developing running backs and developing a running game, then why not?
Absolutely. So, doing it chronologically, who was next? Who was the next who were the next balls on the block?
Well, next one after was Ron.
Real Ron.
So this one we all saw coming.
Yeah.
I think even Ron had signed off.
Yes.
Ron had signed off his own firing.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yep, I'm good with this.
So I keep getting told, right, that the things have changed at the Commanders, the erstwhile Washington football team, and other names, right? But one thing they don't seem to have scrubbed is their complete lack of success since 1990 or whenever it was. Like, it's a terrible team still.
It is, yeah. It's going to take a long time to turn this team around.
It's a 3-year project. Yeah. Because they need 3 drafts.
This is one of those contracts where whoever gets it is going to be, like to your point, 5-6 year contract. And it's not because they've been going through head coaches, but it's exactly that. Is that there is not one area of this team that I think is strong anymore. This time last year, defensive line. Oh yeah, you got the base of a good defensive line there. Gone now.
Yeah.
Like Sam Howell, quarterback, fine. Entertaining, brilliant.
Yeah, but even I'm always the one for the gunslinging, entertaining quarterback. He's not that good. No. He's a very poor Ryan Fitzpatrick.
There's nothing behind him. All Right, running backs are okay.
You got Scary Terry, but he has shown this season he requires people to get him the ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, he is nothing.
And there's nothing behind him in terms of receiving options.
It's nowhere near as attractive as the Falcons.
I think Dotson could be, but once again, if Scary Terry ain't getting it, Dotson
ain't
ain't.
going to get it. Yeah. So there's so much to do on this team, and look, I actually quite like. Not like that's wrong. I kind of see what they're trying to do in terms of like, right, we are in rebuild. Let's not pay Montez Sweat a big contract. Let's not pay Chase Young a big contract. Let's not bring in a big contract quarterback. Let's decide our strategy for building. Now, whether that's through the draft or what, and I think it will end up being through the draft, then you need to collect draft pieces. And you need to collect those picks. And you need to throw a lot of shit at the wall, and some of it will stick and some of it will fall off. But the head coach has to be there for a good period of time.
I just think as an organisation, they're cursed. Like,
I don't believe in that.
Because I kept looking at names that are on the list. And that like for head coaches, and they kept coming up as previously working for Washington, and then I looked in. So, like it's a thing, but their 2013 team, they finished 3-13. On that staff, they had Mike Shanahan. Their offensive coordinator was Carl Shanahan.
Coordinator.
The quarterbacks coach was Matt LaFleur. The wide receivers coach was Mike McDaniel. The tight end coach was Sean McVay. The defensive assistant was Bobby Slowick. The defensive back coach was Raheem Morris. The offensive assistant was Aubrey Pleasant, who's currently LA game day coordinator. The current offensive line coach at the San Francisco was at the thing. They finished 3-13 with that. Like, sometimes you just have to think, it don't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, there's Hall of Famers there. Like, there's a number of head coaches.
They're all doing well, and
they got 3 wins. Like, I know it's all into it, but it just made me laugh. That actually, you could have basically like a Harlem Globetrotters of minds, and you're still gonna finish last in the NFC.
It's experience as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, your point is valid. Is that they are a franchise that has been in the doldrums for 30, 40 years nearly.
So, with that in mind and your list of prospective hires in front of you, which, as you said, I don't have, seeing as I sit here with a blank notepad rather than my laptop. No, I want you to tell me not who it's going to be, but whether they should go for another experienced coach, a la Ron, or whether they need to go down the Shanahan-McVay route of bringing someone young, fresh, and completely unencumbered by any previous ideals.
I think it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, isn't it? Because what you have is obviously the new ownership who are going to want something shiny, sexy, and basically
a polished version of you.
Yeah. So buff,
sleek, hung.
I've just checked. That's not part of the coaching interview rules here, but yeah, hung. Now, I think personally, I think they need an experienced head because there's so much to do.
The way I'd do it is I'd bring in the head coach first and then build around him.
Yeah.
And for me, that means you've got to bring in someone with a decent level of experience. I think we're going to talk about him, but this would be the perfect job for Bill Belichick to rebuild a franchise.
Harbaugh?
But yeah, Jim Harbaugh is where I'd go. Right. It's looking inevitable with Michigan winning on Monday.
Which was great, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, and he's built an incredible team. His biggest issue when he's in San Francisco is working with the GM, Trent Baalke.
Would he not want to be GM as well?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If they bring him in as head coach and say, you've got the power, we want you to bring in a GM, but over things like player personnel, you've got the final vote, which is what I've always felt that's what happens in San Francisco now with Carl Shanahan and John Lynch, is that if Carl Shanahan doesn't want the player, they don't go for the player. Trey Lance is probably the exception to that.
So I actually really like the idea, but Harbaugh is weird.
All head
No,
coaches are
no.
weird. All head coaches.
Tell
all
me,
good head coaches.
tell
are
me
weird.
that he isn't. Yeah, but tell me he isn't fucking weird.
Oh, he's fucking weird.
It is weird.
And does the Washington organization need something that isn't, stable and normal?
No, I don't think so.
Just the thing about Ron was really good at the sort of face.
Yep.
Like, he's good in the press. He's good at, he gives a professional image. And that's great. But this is the most we've talked about Washington this year because they suck and we hate them, effectively. But there's nothing to them. Let's have a bit of weird.
Yeah, you look at what Jim Harbaugh's done. He's had he built a decent organisation at Stanford, which was a winning program. Went to the 49ers and turned that around because they were shit before he got there. Mm-hmm. And then 2 years later, they were in the Super Bowl. All right, it's taken longer in Michigan. It does in college football when you're playing against Nick Saban most years. But he's developed a team and we'll come on and talk about draft prospects, but JJ McCarthy is a round one QB draft prospect who shouldn't be a round one QB draft prospect because that team is built on a big, strong running game and a big, strong defense. Right? You look at those two defensive tackles were in Michael Penix's face the whole game.
It's an unfortunate surname.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, there's worse.
Yeah, there's worse. Oh, we're getting onto that. I cannot wait.
I'll wait for draft day in our league.
I don't think we should even dress it up.
No, I mean, I'm just worried about Paul.
Yeah. So anyway,
Sorry.
For me,
I like Jim Harbaugh. I respect what the Niners thing was brilliant. I have really enjoyed what he's done in college football. He's weird, and this organisation has got to be thinking, okay, we do need to continue to build this professional image that John is saying about that Ron has installed. And I think he might put them off of that a little bit. That's all.
maybe.
But I mean, they have a very good chance of being a successful franchise with Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
But it might attract some weird and wonderful headlines.
Oh, I'm sure it would.
Do they need that?
That's the thing. They'll be trying to shed that image of being...
That's my point. That's my point. And I don't know if you can be successful doing that, or whether you can just be boring and win 4 games.
They've already done a bit of weird. They brought in a former NBA GM.
Yeah,
to be fair, built the Golden State Warriors, who are pretty fucking good. Still a bit of a weird move. I put it up there with when the Browns brought in that
Moneyball.
Paul
DePodesta.
DePodesta,
Yeah.
Podesta, that's it.
Not Paul DeRista. He was a
Yes.
Formula 1 driver.
Different
What happened to him?
He got fired for being
Scottish.
being a bit weird. Actually,
Oh, yeah.
He was weird to, but I don't know. I don't mind. Like, you think about it, Sirianni's weird.
weird.
And he's
Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell is
Weird.
weird.
Bill Belichick's weird.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, like I don't mind. Like,
I don't mind weird. It's only that organisation. It's just the fact that they cannot afford many slip-ups.
All right.
Next.
Let's talk about the big one then.
All right. Here it is. Oh, no, hang on.
Mike Vrabel was
Fired.
Unceremoniously and entirely unnecessarily in my book.
Yes.
Basically, I think they basically were like, we could trade him. That could take ages because it's going to take ages for that sort of thing to think. We need to have a succession plan, start building this. Thanks, Mike. Now we're going to make everyone else's life easier and make this head coach available who has actually, they have made his life miserable for ever since they finished first in the AFC.
I'm going to read you part of the statement from Amy Adams Strunk, the owner. Our vision is not simply to produce more wins than losses, it is regularly to compete for championships. Whilst this season was disappointing, I see early signs of progress taking shape. Last year we added a promising young quarterback and several other talented players to our roster. If you've got, and I put this on the website, if you've got promising signs and you think you've got a good young quarterback, why the hell are you unearthing everything around that team and starting again? Because that sets you back. We said 2 years. It's going to set you back 2 years.
Yeah, it's not just about winning and losing, is it?
Yeah.
Because, of course, with the Tennessee Titans, you just associate that with success, don't you?
Yeah.
So,
and you mentioned he got so much out of that team.
Yeah.
Considering what they've put around him. Last 10 draft picks. 2014, Taylor Lewan, not at the club. Marcus Mariota, not at the club. Jack Conklin, not at the club. Corey Davis, not at the club. These are just first rounds, by the way. Adoree Jackson, not at the club.
Yeah.
Rashaan Evans, not at the club. Jeffrey Simmons, got a second contract. Isaiah Wilson, not at the club. Not only not under the club, he never fucking played for them.
Yeah.
Caleb Farley, he's still there. He's made 14 starts in 3 years. Traylon Burks, still there. 49 receptions, 665 yards, and 1 touchdown in 2 years. And Peter Skoronski, too early to tell. That's just the first round. He has got dross around him. The year they were the AFC number 1 seed, they had the most injuries ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a fucking good coach.
He's a great coach. I mean, in some ways, like, it's a good thing. It's a good thing for Vrabel.
Oh, he's great for Vrabel.
Like, I mean, any of these free jobs would be. They should be grateful that if they get a chance, because he is brilliant. I think he gets the most out of bad organisations, and when you give him a good organisation, they finished first in the AFC.
Right.
Since then, traded away AJ Brown.
And his reaction to that.
Yeah. I mean,
one of the brilliant videos. But the thing is, we've not mentioned his name in connection to the Falcons or Washington, and he could go into those two teams and be brilliant. We've not done that because we know very well where he's going.
Yeah.
Now, whether it's now or whether it's later, he's going to New England, isn't he?
I think so. I think he'd be great there. Give a chance to build a team.
I would be dubious being the guy that follows Belichick, and that might be the thing that stops him.
But, and I'm going against what I've said previously, and I've got a bet riding on this. If Bill Belichick does what Pete Carroll has gone, I'm going to step upstairs because I've got a relationship with Mike Vrabel already. I like him. He's my type of guy. He's my type of coach. Let's bring him in. I'll go and do the GM thing. He can do the coaching thing.
But Bill Belichick's the worst GM in the league.
I completely agree with that, yeah. But, you know.
I think it's a really bad move if he does that. A really bad move for his career. Because Belichick isn't willingly walking out of the building. It's not like he's gone, okay, that was pretty poor. Yes, I'm under contract, but I will be negotiating my release and I'll be leaving. He's gone, yeah, well, we'll see. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's going to have to get fired.
And I don't think you want to be the man that follows the man.
I agree.
So, yes, I agree. But
what,
if New England had thought Vrabel was going to be available, they'd have fired Bill already.
I don't know.
I don't think anybody thought he was going to be available.
I did.
No, I did not. I'm shocked.
Yeah. I thought he was going to be available. I didn't expect it maybe the day after Black Monday.
Mauve Tuesday.
Yeah. Sort of murky Tuesday.
Yeah, I think it's an appalling move by the Titans. Yeah. And I think it's a very dangerous move for Vrabel because if the New England job is offered to him, I think he will take it, and I really don't think it's the right thing to do. We have got absolutely chuff all on our roster. There's nothing.
A couple of defenders.
Okay, there's probably 6 people on the defense that you would keep. And that's it. The rest of the team is dross. And I am okay with that. But what is Mike Vrabel going to do with that?
Well, he's done. You think
Robert Kraft's going to give anyone 3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
Without... I don't. He's, like I said, he's another one of the guys who hasn't got time.
Yeah, no, I think the difference between Kraft and those other guys that haven't had time is Kraft won 6 Super Bowls.
Absolutely. But I think that doesn't placate them. That makes them greedier.
Potentially, yeah.
I would love to see, I've said all along, I would love to see Mike Vrabel or Brian Flores as our head coach. But I'm not sure for Mike Vrabel it's the right move.
This is going to be their one chance to get Mike Vrabel, realistically. The
Of
stars
course.
have aligned.
Yeah,
Yeah. You just, all Robert Kraft has to do is one phone call.
Do not move Bill up to be GM. It will not work. You'd be better off saying he's going to be defensive coordinator because that is what he is still good at. Our defense was 10th overall in the league?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's still good. You're winning games 10-4.
And losing them 15-10.
Yeah.
So it's...
Didn't we have more games this season scoring fewer than 10 points than Brady had in his entire career with the Patriots? It was something ridiculous.
Yeah. At one stage, you had better defense than the 49ers, and you were
Yeah.
0-4, and the 49ers were 4-0.
Yeah.
Something like that,
Yeah. So Bill still has something to offer, but I think that will cloud whoever's there next. And so I'm not sure. I would love to see it. I really respect Mike Vrabel, and I do not know if this works out well for him. But I certainly see where you're coming from, and I think that is where the rumour mill is going to drive this.
It's one of those rumours that's very easy, isn't it? It's very easy to put it together. Oh, yeah, former Patriot. Patriots are looking to get rid of Bill.
Basically, as long as it's not Josh fucking Daniels or Matt Patricia, I don't care who it is.
Let's not rule that out yet.
Yeah, let's not rule that out yet.
Let's rule that out.
I'm still sticking with Bill needs to go because
But I think Bill needs to go.
I think he needs to go, but I'm just preaching be wary.
Yeah. But
Who's next?
well,
No one else has been fired.
no one else has been fired. We are
Yet.
we're talking.
It's a very slow Black Monday Mauve
I
Tuesday.
thought it was, yeah.
So now we're in sort of turquoise Wednesday.
Fucking hell.
You wait till Cerise Friday. Let's go out with her.
I mean, can we expect anyone else to be fired by sort of Linen Saturday?
I think some of that depends on how the playoffs work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think Dennis Allen's safe?
I don't think he's safe, but I'm not sure they know what to do.
Yeah.
It does feel like they're in neutral, doesn't it? Like they're literally not really sure what gear to go for.
Do you think Dennis Allen on many other franchises has done enough to keep his job?
No.
Do you think Dennis Allen on many other franchises would have been given the job in the first place?
No.
And so I think we're in agreement that they should move on, but I don't think they will.
No.
Well, shall we? Because we've mentioned the Falcons, we've mentioned the Saints. Should we talk about the Jameis? Because the Jameis touchdown.
So no.
Jamal
Williams. But
So last season, Jamal Williams led the league with 17 touchdowns.
Yes.
And this season, he came into the last minute of the last game of the year with 0 touchdowns. And the word is that Dennis Allen, they were 34 to 12 up.
Well up in the league.
And he went through to the helmet with Jameis and said, take a knee. And Jameis said, okay. And then went to the huddle and went, fuck that shit. We're giving the ball to Jamal Williams and we're going to fake the kneel. And that's exactly what he did. Jamal Williams scored and Arthur Smith got fired. And it was one of the greatest moments of the season.
It was literally. Well, come on, we'll do an end of this season things.
Oh no!
My touchdown.
It's my sweetest player of the week.
And mine.
My touchdown of the season is going to be this because
It was brilliant.
It was brilliant.
And Shannon Sharp
Funny.
Shannon Sharp came out immediately afterwards and said, I would release Jameis Winston today for disrespecting the plan. And then loads of players have come out and gone, no, this is brilliant. This is exactly what you have to do. Jameis has been basically a leader there because Dennis Allen doesn't get it. And I'm on Jameis' side here.
I'm always on Jameis. Unless he's in a Uber, I'm on Jameis' side.
But I mean, why take Jamal Williams and then do nothing with him all season?
Because you're a shithead coach.
Yeah, well,
Bad organisation.
bad organisation. So I am I am on the Dennis Allen should be fired boat, and I am down with Jameis. Maybe just make Jameis the head coach. That'd be hilarious.
Jeez, that'd be absolutely.
But could they be worse? No, probably not. But yeah, what a great play, and fair play to him. He probably thinks, I'm fucking definitely not here next year anyway.
Yeah.
So what do I care?
The thing is, there's no point to getting rid of him because he's on a really low. He's on $1 million to $4 million a year.
Former number one pick.
Number one pick, and
2014?
13.
Yeah.
2013. Wow.
He's still earning more than Marcus.
Yeah.
But there's no point because, of course, we'll get onto it a few in later weeks. But the Saints are in cap hell.
Yep.
They've got to basically release $90 million so they can sign their draft picks. So
I mean, that's not on Dennis Allen, to be fair.
That's not on Dennis Allen, but it's just a team that's been doing this. We mention it every year. The Saints are in cap hell. It's fine, you know. What they do is they just palm it off for another year.
It does make a mockery of the cap, doesn't it?
It does, but yeah, I wouldn't get rid of Jameis because I think you see on the sidelines. I think he's just possibly the most popular player on the team, and
Jimmy Graham has said he's one of the best leaders he's ever played with. And that's not coming from anyone who's played 2 years with one other quarterback. He's played with a few good quarterbacks.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway,
Robert Saleh.
I
kind of feel if it had happened, it would have happened by now.
Yeah,
I don't think it's happening.
So I don't think it's happening.
I think he's got another year.
2015, by the way, the draft.
Was it?
He went the wrong way. 2015.
Oh, I went the wrong way.
Wow. Was that our first year?
Yeah, maybe.
Fucking hell.
That's where the Mariota love came from.
Yeah. God, we've been doing this too long.
Look, I don't think Robert Saleh's getting fired.
Like I said,
absolutely not.
If they were going to do it, it would have happened by now.
Now, Aaron Rodgers being voted the most inspirational Jets player of the season is a fucking joke. And then subsequently, Aaron Rodgers laying into some people.
Well, one person.
Jimmy Kimmel.
I've
got no love for Jimmy Kimmel, but
no,
I don't think he nonced anyone up on an island. What do you reckon?
I can tell you he was not on the list.
No,
So.
he wasn't on the list.
Let's say no.
This is a no-nonsing zone, is that what you're saying?
The thing is, so he did it on the, what's that podcast? The Barstool
Sports?
Yeah. Is that, both of those are, Jimmy Kimmel show and that podcast are both owned by Disney.
Yeah.
That creates a massive problem for Disney if those two are going at each other. Because Aaron Rodgers gets, $1 million an episode? Something stupid like that? Ridiculous.
I think someone's basically put out that the ESPN have paid $85 million for Aaron Rodgers' outburst. He has been told he's not going to be required for the rest of the season.
Much like his time in the Jets.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, check out Jimmy Kimmel's
response
7-minute
from Monday night,
monologue. I'm not a Jimmy Kimmel fan, but you can't just insinuate that people are nonces and then not apologise.
Anyway, slight connection to playoff football.
Better than slight connection to noncing.
Yeah. We're going to move on from noncing. The playoff game where whoever loses, do they face the chop? Eagles, Bucks.
No. Bucks maybe.
No.
Sirianni's
No. Todd Bowles has done a really good job.
Done a great job.
Agree.
I don't think Sirianni's in trouble either. I think Eagles.
It's been so bad.
They've fallen off, but they would have to do the same again next year for him to get sacked.
Fair. Just put it out
And
there.
Todd Bowles, I mean, look at what Baker has done this year. Like, come on now. No, not a chance. I think they're both safe. I think Nick Sirianni has probably regressed to the mean a little bit. People have figured it out a bit with the Eagles. If you like, Jalen Hurts hasn't been as good in the second half of the season. All fair.
Yeah.
All fair. But okay, they'd have to really struggle next season for him to get fired, because Eagles fans know what it looks like if you fire someone who's had success and replace them without really thinking it through. And as for the Bucks, I mean, if you'd have told them this is how this season was going to go, they'd have snapped your hand off. Because
God, yeah.
I don't think many of us thought Todd Bowles would have done a good enough job. And not many people had Baker down as one of the comeback players of the season. Like, he was really genuinely good this year.
Yep.
Like peak Browns Baker. He was.
Like Bucks Brady at the end.
Well, his stats were absolutely right up there with Brady's stats. And his connection with Mike Evans was brilliant. Like, I don't think he's had enough credit this season, Baker Mayfield. Yes, he's had the odd game where he goes in the tank because he's Baker Mayfield and he will always do that. But he's also had some games where they really didn't deserve to be in it, and he has absolutely kept them clinging on. And that is also Baker Mayfield. And he's always going to be that way, but he does win a lot of games doing that. So,
But can I argue that one of the things that's lets down the Bucks this year is the defense, which still has star power on it, and that should be Bowles' back.
So I think that's fair. I think some of the players didn't necessarily produce. And I also think it was very clear that, same when he was at the Jets, Todd Bowles struggles to manage overall and the defense. And I think, having learnt from his experience with the Jets, he chose to manage overall and try and balance it out, as opposed to just stick with the defense and hope the offense is good enough. So actually, I think he's proved to be a lot better than he did with the Jets. Like, I don't have a problem with what he's done.
Oh no, I don't know. I have no problem with Bowles. I think
If you'd have said the only thing that works slightly against them is the division and the fact that it is so fucking easy to get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
What did they get? They got there last year 8 and 9. This year 9 and 8.
Yeah.
But across 2 seasons, that's success. Like, they've done fine. Like, I've got nothing. I don't see any reason why Todd Bowles won't be the head coach there next season.
Fair, just putting it out there.
Yeah, unless there's someone that was available that they didn't think.
Well, Mike Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel, yeah.
But I don't think he's available. I think he will end up somewhere. But yeah, I wouldn't get rid of Todd Bowles. I think he's done a fine job. And yeah, in the NFC South, 9 and 8 is enough. 2 years in a row now. Yeah, and you look at the other teams, they're going through hell. So, I think we can hope for more of the same next year. They've got some cap space. They've got good players already. Build up that defence.
Don't rock the pirate ship.
Yeah,
Very good.
nice. But yeah, other than that,
Who's going to get appointed head coach at the Raiders?
Pierce is the favourite at the moment, isn't it? It seems to be between Pierce and
Harbaugh.
I think it's Harbaugh.
You think it's Harbaugh? See, now.
Can I say Harbaugh for something else?
Yeah, go on.
Chargers.
Makes a lot of sense.
Now, I think that's a much better shout than the Commanders. But that is where I think he's going to end up, is the Chargers. I think he would be insane to take the Vegas job.
Yeah.
And he is insane.
Anyone would be insane to take the Vegas
But
job.
I think, and I don't necessarily think Antonio Pierce is the right move, because it's not like they were massively successful. They were better.
I think that's come about because they realised they made a mistake with Rich Bisaccia 2 years ago.
Absolutely.
And now it's like, oh, hang on, no, are we about to make the same
Is
thing
it
again?
too late to go back to Rich Bisaccia?
Well,
They did. I don't think they made a mistake with Rich Bisaccia. They made the mistake with Josh McDaniel.
that's
Yes.
fair.
That-
Yeah, that's fair.
Sometimes Rich Bisaccia does well because he's not Gruden. Antonio Pierce comes in, he does well because he's not McDaniel. These coaches are a breath of fresh air. But next season, you're the man. And it's your message now. Your message just can't be, well, we're going to do the opposite of what the other old guy said.
Hey, we're new, we're fresh.
Yeah. Come on, guys. It's a good. It's a fun place to be now. Come on, Max Crosby. Pretend to smoke a cigar like you fucking weirdo. Very good player though, but he is their star only star defender. Devontae Adams will he will go.
Yep. Josh Jacobs going to go.
Yeah. Their team's going to get weaker. They don't have a history of being able to build good teams. Their mistake was McDaniel. They can't make the same mistake again. Watch as they make the same mistake again.
What type of coach they need? Because like we talked about this with the Commanders, didn't we? Is it going to be someone new or is it going to be someone established? And I can't figure this out with the Raiders.
So the problem the Raiders have got is that they're a laughing stock, right? They're a bit like the Commanders, but nothing history-wise suggests
the
it should be.
Commanders, they've got new ownership, and you're like, all right, we're going to go.
So Mark Davis is a laughing stock.
Yeah.
So all that will be available to the Raiders are coaches looking for their second hire. Coaches who've already failed and are looking for redemption. That is all that's going to be available to them. So if you think Dan Quinn is already going somewhere else, then who else are you looking at on the list of coaches who've been hired and fired?
There are two other former head coaches on the list. And this is a list collated from a number of different articles. It's not just me making up on the spot, although some of it is. One's Brian Flores.
Okay, but I don't think that's going to be a thing.
I don't think it will either, because I think he's going to be really picky about where he goes next. Rightly so. And the other is Steve Wilkes,
who never got a fair shake. So that is the sort of coach I'm talking about. A guy who just was one and done, didn't really get anything to work with. The other one, and I think it's too soon, is Cliff Clinkernuts.
Oh, no.
Because that, to me, sounds like a Mark Davis pick.
You are absolutely right. That sounds like a
it
Mark
feels
Davis
horrible to
Raiders
say,
type.
but
Is he still in Thailand?
with any luck. But you would not be at all surprised if you woke up a week from now and Mark Davis was shaking hands with Cliff Clinkernuts on a 10-year deal. Would you? You wouldn't, would you? You'd be like, yeah, of course he is. They're going to go 4-14 or whatever, 4-13 for the rest of forever.
I mean,
You wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised. All I know is whatever they do,
It's going to be wrong.
it's going to be wrong. And even if Antonio Pierce actually is, they're not going to build him a team. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're a terrible franchise. I mean, we should give them more respect because they are one of the 32, but it's hard. It is hard. No.
I mean,
my respect ran out the door when they left Oakland.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah, it's been shit ever since they did that.
Yeah.
Really, hasn't it? I mean,
And they are the most expensive team to follow.
yeah,
Because they're in Vegas. But like having to pay thousands of dollars to watch that dross. Oh mate, I paid so much money. What'd you see? Well, I saw them lose 3-0 the other week.
We didn't concede many points.
Then we went away, and so I didn't go watch that one. And they scored 63 points against a team that had given up. You're like, they aren't. The whole thing stinks. But like, I feel for Antonio Pierce because actually he's done a really good job. He's settled the team. He probably will get the job, but I don't know.
He'll just kind of get it by default because no one else wants it.
Yeah, I kind of think their only hope is
If you were to rank the teams that are currently available, the Raiders would be the team I want.
No. I think there's one below the Raiders.
Go on.
Panthers.
I
think Tepper's worse than Mark Davis.
Tepper's worse.
Because at least Mark Davis does actually tend to stay out the way of football operations.
Which one is the worst franchise at the moment, though, in terms of their team ready to go? I think it's probably the Raiders.
Especially if Devontae Adams makes noise.
He's
about
going.
If
He's
he
going.
goes,
Josh Jacobs, what's he going to...
Well, his contract's gone.
So the Raiders have got nothing. Not really.
Yeah, no, that.
I think at least the Panthers have got some building blocks.
They got decent defense, and they might have a quarterback.
So I am not prepared to say that Bryce Young isn't.
I'm going to say Bryce Young is better than Aidan O'Connell.
Yeah, I'm not prepared to say he's
go
not
out
an
and
NFL
agree
quarterback.
on that.
Yeah. I don't think he was given a fair shake this season. It's a bit like how things went for Sam Darnold. It's like I don't think we ever really got to see him when he had the opportunity to grow, and now it's too late. He's a career backup.
But at least for the Raiders, you've still got your first round pick and most of your draft picks. Like the Panthers are fucked.
Yeah, now that is a problem. That
And
is
they've
a
got
problem.
a lot of holes to fill.
Okay, so now we're juggling between which is shitter, the Raiders or the Panthers. Well, there's only one way to find out. Fight! But
They both lose.
yeah. It's
another 3-0 win to someone.
The sort of Rocky...
who loses? Everyone.
Yeah.
The Rocky freeze frame ending.
Yeah.
But you just know they both knocked each other out. And, yeah.
I don't know. I think if I were a head coach, I'd rather go and work for the Panthers than the Raiders.
I'd avoid them both.
Yeah, but if they were my only two choices, I think I'd go, right, well, I don't know about David Tepper. At least I know Mike Davis is
there. But you mentioned Slowick earlier, like there are a number of other offensive coordinators who are on good teams, because that tends to do what happens, right? The coordinators of good teams are the ones that tend to get the interviews for good reason. If I was any of those coordinators, I would probably stay with the team I'm in rather than go to the Panthers or the Raiders as a head coach. Because head coaches, you got what? 2 opportunities, maybe 3 max. Do you want your first one to be with either of those 2 teams?
No.
Right?
No, I do not.
They're both dumpster fires at the moment.
But this is what I mean. I certainly for the Raiders and possibly with the Panthers, it's coaches looking for redemption. Steve Wilkes is a great shout.
But I would say even if he's his second team, surely you got to be even more careful.
Yeah, maybe. This is why we end up with names out of nowhere. Like a few years ago, the big name on everybody's lips was Jim Bob Cooter, right? And he was Lions coordinator, right? Now Jim Bob Cooter is now offensive coordinator at the Colts, right? That is the sort of name that might get thrown around, because it's like, well, he's looking for a job, sort of. You know, he'd love to be promoted to head coach, but he's not really relevant enough to be at a good team. Yeah. But he might do something at one of these. And, so maybe.
The other one is if they go into the college game. And we mentioned Jim Harbaugh. On the other side of that college final is Kalen DeBoer. He's built a good program at Washington.
Yeah.
But
why would you? If you were him, why would you?
Why would you leave Washington?
Yeah.
When you've got a good program and a lot of respect to go and manage the Raiders.
Yeah, I think they're going to struggle. This is where the jumping from coach to coach thing really is a self-perpetuating thing, because then coaches don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Or you go to the other way, like we said, you get a 6-year contract with a massive payout, because that's the only way you can hire a coach now. When you've made so many mistakes, you've then got to open the wallet and pay. We should jump to where John did, the Chargers. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where Harbaugh goes. I think that would be brilliant for Justin Herbert. Yeah.
And I think the Chargers need to pull out the stops to make sure it happens.
Yeah.
If they don't, they will have failed as an organisation again.
They won't.
You don't think?
No, just because it's a very Charger thing to do, is to not do the sensible thing. You mentioned Commanders being a cursed franchise. I feel the Chargers are a cursed franchise. I think they're bad at decision making, both off the field and on the field. No matter what happens over the last 10 years, since we've basically been doing this podcast, they seem to make the wrong decision.
Yeah.
And that's what, I agree with you. I think Jim Harbaugh going there would be a brilliant move, which is exactly why it's not going to happen.
I can't argue with that. Yeah. I don't know who else to go for, but Harbaugh's the sensible pick for me. What they'll do is pick up.
I think they'll make a big play for Ben Johnson.
I'm not sure that's the right thing to do.
Which is why they'll do it.
Yeah, that feels fair. That does feel fair.
Fair enough. Should we talk about the playoffs?
Yes.
So we start with the Jags. So they grasped defeat from
Should we talk about the playoffs and then focus on a team that aren't in it?
So we're going to, because basically they lost 5 of their last 6 games to ensure their season ended on Sunday. What it means is Texans claim the division. They had a win over the Colts. Both of those teams, the Texans and the Colts, can look back on good seasons.
Yeah.
But to go from worst to first, like the Texans have done, it's just brilliant. We've mentioned it before, but the job that has been done in Houston, a team, another organisation, you could make legitimate claims being cursed.
And they had to give D'Amico Ryans a 6-year contract.
Yeah.
But I would now make him one of the favourites, if not the favourite, for Coach of the Year.
It's been brilliant.
I'd also make Nick Caserio one of the favourites for Executive of the Year.
Yeah.
Because
That's the thing?
Yeah, that's the thing. You know that?
No.
That's the thing.
It's a thing if you make it.
Yeah.
I just made it. No, I didn't. It's a genuine thing. John Lynch won it one year.
Oh, good for him. I'm sure that's on his mantelpiece.
Yes.
But anyway, as a team, both off the field and on the field, I think they've done a great job.
Really have.
Really great job. Kind of pains me to say it.
See, I've always really liked the Texans. And I really liked them until they let Bill O'Brien do exactly what he wanted to do. And then it sort of fell apart for a while. But I actually think, as an organisation, they're not that bad. They made some ill-informed choices, but they are not a storied and historically terrible franchise like the Chargers, the Jets, the Commanders. They're not in the same category for me. The Raiders. They're not like there. I think they're still the youngest of the franchises.
Yeah.
Well, they're 2002. They came in, and they've been relevant for a great deal of that time. Made the playoffs on many occasions. Remember, there was like the debacle of the Osweiler contract and stuff like this. But on the whole, they're not anything like those aforementioned teams.
Even the Osweiler thing, they actually made a good play to get rid of him.
They did a brilliant job with the Browns, and how that hasn't become more of a thing in the NFL, I don't know. But that's what I mean. They unleashed Bill O'Brien, and at the same time, then landed him with the one quarterback he didn't actually want, having played through all the others. But they've been brilliant this year, and DeMeco Ryans is positioning himself over the next 3 years for a deep playoff run. It won't happen this year. Like they might sneak one, but they're not that good. Not really.
No, they are. They have some very good players.
Very young players.
Very young players. But yeah, what it is, this is the start of something, isn't it? We thought it might be. I didn't expect them to be this far advanced. But once you get beyond these players, there's nothing. Like we've seen a drop off now.
Quick question while you're talking, because it's relevant to you. CJ Stroud,
yes,
much better than Justin Herbert. Yes or no?
This season?
No, just ever.
Oh, ever? No.
Absolutely off the scale, much better than Justin Herbert. I really like Justin Herbert. Has done nothing to make me want to like him. Doesn't win games. CJ Stroud is immeasurably better. And I've been meaning to bring that up with you, and I've not been here because I've been a lazy bastard. So I'm just throwing it in there now.
Gary brought this up a few weeks ago.
Sure.
And we're going to have to do some sort of Chargers sort of autopsy at the end of the year.
It's not the same without Phillip Rivers.
Well, I think we should go back to Phillip Rivers. We should look at what's been right and wrong at the Chargers for the basically
one of them columns is going to be short.
But I don't get. Everyone keeps bringing up basically become a bit of a Justin Herbert hater. And I don't get it.
I don't get it.
I am not a Justin Herbert hater. I think he's a good player, but I think he may not be anywhere near as good as we imagined he was. He's no Joe Burrow.
No.
He's no CJ Stroud.
I don't know. I think it's too early to tell.
He's a slightly better version of Trevor Lawrence, who isn't very good.
No, that I disagree with. Trevor Lawrence is much better than CJ Stroud or Justin Herbert.
You reckon?
Yes.
Not a chance.
Okay.
Absolutely. You're a terrible judge of quarterbacks. You're a terrible judge of quarterbacks. Mr. Jalen Hurts is rubbish.
He is.
He's not rubbish.
Fucking is at the moment.
He's having a slump. It's just a slump.
Okay.
Anyway, glad I've thrown that in. I've pulled the pin out of that grenade. I knew there was something I meant to bring up, and it just reminded me when he was talking. Right there. John's not the apologist for Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's a good player, but he's just a good player. That's all he is.
When it comes to CJ Stroud, I think judge him after next year, because we see this all the time.
Yeah.
All the time we see quarterbacks have a good first season, and we're like, yeah, they're the next coming of Jesus, and then they have a second year slump, and we're like, ooh, now they're shit. And it's recency bias, right?
Yes.
I agree. I think CJ Stroud looks brilliant. He's had a great season. He will be offensive rookie of the year without a doubt. because he's a quarterback and he's played well. But yeah, he's had less than 16 games because he's been injured.
Yeah, fewer than 16 games. Yeah.
So let's judge him after the 2-3 year mark.
Doesn't make you wish that Anthony Richardson stayed fit, no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
He'd have been really good.
He would have, but for the Colts,
Sorry, would he?
Oh yeah. I mean, to watch, it'd have been entertaining. I don't mean they'd won any more games. I absolutely don't think they would have done. But he was going to be good to watch because he couldn't slide. He was basically like watching RG3.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem, isn't it? He got injured really quick. He's now got a really bad injury history, and his accuracy hasn't improved at all this year.
No.
He hasn't.
They only got as close as they did because they were playing Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
I agree, but he would have been fun to watch. Much more fun than Sam Howell, who apparently was fun to watch.
Back to the playoffs.
So, what went wrong for Jacksonville? Because it was theirs to win. Like, I love the Texans story. I love the Colts, taking it to the wire. What went wrong? Because, Josh Allen on their defense player, I thought for a few years, like he hot and cold. He's got like 17 and a half sacks this year.
Yeah, he's been really good.
Really good. Contract's up. Offensively, Trevor Lawrence, Calvin Ridley came in. He's been hot and cold.
Yeah.
Contract's up. What has happened that basically, I know Lawrence got injured.
There's that.
But
I think there's a couple of things.
5 out of 6 they lost.
Lawrence got injured. I agree. Josh Allen's had a good year. I don't think the rest of the defense has. I think they've got rid of all the defensive staff now, haven't they?
Yeah.
And I think that's the right move because I don't think the defense has been very good at all. Like they've got an number 1 overall pick on that defense.
Is it just that they believed the hype? They thought, we're going to cruise. We're going to cruise the end. Because I think Pedersen is a bit prone to that.
Yeah, I know. That was going to be a point.
Like the season after the Super Bowl.
They got a bit overconfident.
Yeah.
I just don't think they've got a running game.
They should have kept Leonard Fournette all them years ago.
Well, they need
a running game.
They need something like that. I mean, I think Etienne's a good player, but they've got no one who's going to run through the tackles.
You know who they need, who they should be desperate to go and sign, is Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
You put Josh Jacobs next to Trevor Lawrence.
Derrick Henry.
I don't know. I think Derrick Henry might be coming to the end.
Everything at the moment relies on Trevor Lawrence.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everything on that offense, everything relies on Trevor Lawrence. And I agree, he's not had a great season. He has been injured. But every quarterback needs a running game. And, I think Evan Ingram's been fine as a tight end. Gary raves about him because he consistently scores 8 or 9 points in fantasy, and that's great. But unfortunately, there's a difference between fantasy and actual fucking
He's not a
games.
difference maker.
He's not a difference maker.
No.
He's not a Mark Andrews or a George Kittle. Or
Calvin Ridley, you're right, he's blown hot and cold. I don't think they've got a natural wide receiver 1.
Well, is the fact that Zay Jones is their wide receiver 1 and he's missed the last month?
Well, that's a worry. Because Zay Jones is no one's wide receiver 1.
Not Zay Jones, Christian Kirk even.
And again, I don't think Christian Kirk is a
they gave Christian Kirk silly money to be wide receiver 1.
They had to because they're in a
Jags tax.
As Jim said, they don't have a wide receiver 1. There basically are a lot of moving parts that aren't quite greased up enough. They're not good enough. And so Trevor Lawrence is really struggling to manipulate them. But Doug Peterson believes his own hype and thinks he can, a bit like Belichick, right? He's another one. They think, right, well, I can take this guy that nobody else really thinks that much of and make him much better. And it turns out you can't always do that. No. And so Pedersen dropped off a cliff after they won the Super Bowl, and he wrote a book called, How to Be Successful at Everything or something stupid like that, and then fell apart.
His
I think
play scheming isn't as good as it needs to be.
It really isn't. And I think the Jags literally threw it away.
Yeah.
I think they absolutely just thought we're going to coast this, and they didn't show enough respect to what the Texans were going to do and enough respect to what the opposition can do to you on any day.
Apparently the thing on someone put out on Twitter today was that the people fired by the Jags came out and went, you do realise they fired the wrong people. they fired the wrong people. The problems are still there. Like, I mean, they would say that they have just been fired, but the offensive coordinator is staying, and that offense at the end of the season looked absolutely hopeless.
Offensive.
Predictable.
Yeah, one-dimensional,
Yeah.
and if we're gonna mention Herbert having a disappointing season, Lawrence has a very disappointing season.
Yes.
Yep.
And actually, compared to they basically ended up with the same record as last year, except last year they went into this part of the season hot.
Yeah.
They got the playoffs on the final day, the comeback win. Then they almost beat the Chiefs. Like, they got as close to the Chiefs in the playoffs as anyone does. And this year, it's just an absolute damn
Did it not
squib.
feel like the football gods last year went, it's about time we let the Jags do something, and then this year went, oh, hang on.
Yeah.
No.
You still made that Urban Meyer fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he'd be looking for redemption at the Vegas Raiders.
Do you know what?
Oh, no. What an awful thought. Oh, God. Like
God, that'd just be hilarious.
the four horsemen of the apocalypse just aligned there.
Do you know what? It's just crazy enough that it could happen.
Yeah,
Possibly.
Jesus.
So we'll stay in the AFC. So the Steelers, they take the final wild card spot.
How?
Big win at the Ravens against the Ravens team that
Didn't care.
It wasn't a Ravens team, was it?
no. But it's come at the cost of TJ Watt, who isn't going to play this weekend. He will miss their matchup against the Bills because the Bills took second place in.
Somehow.
Yeah, 6 weeks ago.
You want to talk to me about the Eagles falling off a cliff? How have the Dolphins
Yeah.
done what they've done?
Well, I was going to say, we mentioned him earlier. McDaniel has been in charge 2 seasons. They've started hot and finished both seasons tepid. Is McDaniel just Cliff Clinkernut with Tyreek Hill?
He could be.
I like McDaniel,
Yeah.
but he's finished 2 seasons now.
I mean, he's done.
Stuttering.
The fact that he's done 2 seasons, I think, puts him above Clinkernuts.
Clinkernut's. Remember, at one point, like the Cardinals were like 8-0 in one
10-0.
season, and then this next season they were doing well in the playoff race, and then. I'm not saying that Daniels is a fraud or anything, but because I like them, but it's
How did the Bills win this? The Bills have been bad this year.
Because even finishing the second seed, they aren't great, and Allen is peak Allen in every sort of way. He's fun. He's moved the ball. He's making some stupid throws.
I'll tell you how bad the Bills are, right? And prove it. You wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers win.
No.
I would.
Would you?
Yeah.
Would you be surprised? I would not be surprised. If Josh Allen throws 3 picks and the Steelers win, I wouldn't be surprised.
I guess I wouldn't be surprised. I would be surprised.
You're not sure though, are you? I'm not sure.
That's the thing.
You're going grayer while I'm sitting here.
I'm not entirely sure.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So for that fact,
The fact that they're going to be starting Mason Rudolph and they might win should be a fucking surprise, and it's not.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me about this time last year when they played the Dolphins, and was it Skylar Thompson or something stupid like that was the quarterback? This is easy, and he nearly fucking did it. I think that's the type of game we could be
Thompson,
having. Skylar Moore, Skylar something.
Who's Skylar Thompson? There's a Skylar Thompson and a
Skylar Thompson was the Dolphins.
Yeah, so right, okay.
Yeah.
Snoop Huntley.
Snoop Huntley.
That was his nickname, wasn't it?
I don't know, was it?
Skylar Moore definitely doesn't play football.
No. Oh, no.
Porno?
Not quite.
No, but definitely some sort of model.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Must have seen it on something Jim had in the past.
Anyway. You kind of almost expect it to be one of those games where the Bills scrape through, but fucking hell, it was close.
18-15 or some stupid fucking ridiculous...
Sky Moore is a wide receiver for the Chiefs.
For the Chiefs, yeah.
So just to clarify, nobody was looking at porn.
No, wasn't that bad. Not having TJ Watt hurts the Steelers.
Yeah.
Of course it
It
does.
does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huge.
It does, but
It's just bizarre that a team that has started the truly terrible Kenny Pickett, and he is bad. He is bad.
oh yeah,
And then Mr. Biscuits.
Well, he's no Justin Herbert.
Oh, gosh, no. He's no Justin Herbert. Kenny Pickett's bad.
Oh, yeah,
like,
no,
they
I
don't
I
have a
completely
quarterback.
agree, yeah.
They don't have a quarterback. And then, like I say, then Mr. Biscuits. And then Mason Rudolph, and discovered that Mason Rudolph should have been the quarterback all season. That's a team that's in trouble.
Yeah, no, that I agree.
And somehow they're in the playoffs, which only tells you why Mike Tomlin is low-key coach of the year.
every year.
yeah.
Every year.
If there was an award for low key coach of the year, it would just be called the Mike Tomlin Award.
He's never been coach of the year.
No,
What?
Never won it.
That's crazy.
I know.
Is
it's
that like the thing that Kevin De Bruyne has been Premier League
Yeah.
Player of the Year twice, but never won Player of the Month?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's exactly the same.
And you watch Man City win the title, now he's back.
yeah.
Yep.
So should we?
Not according to Timo Warner.
So should we move over to the NFC? So we mentioned the Bucks. They claim the AFC South. Thank God. And so Baker and Bowles, they'll will host the Eagles, who have crawled into the playoffs.
Limped.
The record, you look at the record. It's not a bad record, obviously, but so they lost again to the Giants, and it wasn't like they played a bad team.
They started off with a good team. They
Yeah.
started off with their actual team. And then I think when they realised that A, they were 24-0 down, and B, the Cowboys were routing whoever the Cowboys were playing.
Commanders.
Thank you. They're like, right, well, we might as well try and protect our players now. And Mariota was suddenly the quarterback, and AJ Brown had already gone out, and that was that.
Yeah.
Forget about the result on the last day. It's a bit like the previous mentioned game. Will you be at all surprised if the Bucks beat the Eagles?
No,
Absolutely
not
not.
at all. Not at all.
Me neither.
I think that's for me.
I think that's more likely.
Yeah.
I think Mike Evans against that secondary
Yeah.
is going to have a field day.
And I think Baker is exactly the sort of quarterback to find it, because a bit like Josh Allen, he will just keep throwing it at him. Like, he'll get picked off once or twice. Like Joe Flacco, we're going to talk about Joe Flacco. Like, Baker's just going to keep throwing the ball at Mike Evans until he scores a touchdown.
And that's a recipe for success.
Against the Eagles, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You haven't asked us to
That
pick
secondary
results,
is
but
terrible.
that's what I think the Bucks might win
we
this.
will pick results at the end. But yeah, so because the Saints beat the Falcons, it wasn't enough for them to claim a playoff place, because the Packers grab the final wildcard place and they go to Dallas. So December has been really poor. Like, LaFleur had never lost in December until this season, and then he lost to. Oh, I know he lost to the Giants. I think maybe someone even like the Saints. Their defense has been awful.
Yep.
They made the postseason.
Oh, yeah, this is where it ends for them this year.
Yeah,
The
But I think-
Cowboys will beat them.
I think
but
it's good.
it's success
the
for
Packers.
him as a coach to show, okay, I don't need Aaron Rodgers, and Jordan Love is a quarterback we can work with, and he has been. Like,
He's thrown a lot of touchdowns.
yeah, he's not.
Second in the overall touchdown.
I would not say, he's a nailed-on top 5 quarterback, but they look like they can be successful with him.
He's better than what I expected him to be.
Absolutely better than I expected.
He's
him to
better than last year's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
be. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
It's better than this year's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Well,
Same as the Bucks replacing
I don't
last
know.
year's Brady with this year's Baker.
I heard Jordan Love at halftime calling that Fauci was a fraud. So maybe they're just the same.
I like what the Packers have done this year, but it ends here.
I like what the Packers have done. Defensively, they were appalling, and you can't be that bad against the Dallas Cowboys. They will, especially at home,
Absolutely.
they will make mincemeat of you. News outside that. So we mentioned it before. Michigan were in the college finals. Jim Irsay, Colt owner, was taken to hospital with respiratory issues, and so have you seen that? We'll come back to our friend Aaron. Did you see he stated that Zach Wilson moves on? It's probably best that Zach Wilson moves on this summer because a fresh start is as good as a
Moves on to what? A different sport?
Well, he reckons he should be traded because, of course, there's going to be a huge market for Zach Wilson. But yeah, he has also started the Devontae Adams trade rumours to the Jets.
Do you know what though? Like he could be part of a package to go to the Raiders and for Devontae Adams to come to the Jets.
Could be. They do need
Because Zach Wilson's probably better than Aidan O'Connell. Maybe.
younger.
So you can have two shit quarterbacks.
It's the Raiders, you see.
But just bring back Jamarcus. It'll be
God,
fine.
there's so many MILFs in Las Vegas. He'd fucking love that.
He's not wrong.
Let's get Zach Wilson to the Vegas. He'd love it. Super
Wildcard Weekend.
Super Wildcard Weekend.
What a fucking silly name.
I think they just call it Wildcard Weekend now.
No,
No,
no, it's advertised on the TV as Super Wildcard Weekend.
Fair.
Yeah.
Good. I'm game with that.
So Ravens and the 49ers are on the bye. So Saturday playoffs, we get Saturday football.
We've had Saturday football for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, man.
I know, it's great. I love it. So start off with the Browns at the Texans and then Dolphins at Chiefs. Let's go around the table. How do we see them all going?
I'm so upset that I've got to watch the two teams I would love to have success, the Browns and the Texans, play each other.
Yeah.
I feel like I can neither win nor lose. But because CJ Stroud is the future, I'm picking Joe Flacco to beat the Texans because I want a Joe Flacco playoff run. And I say the Browns are winning this by 7.
Yeah,
a Joe Flacco 45-yard, 60-yard touchdown, whatever it is towards the end.
I think 7 might be a little bit low. I think it could be more.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I think the Browns' defense is just so good.
Yeah.
And CJ Stroud hasn't got receivers.
Mm.
He's great.
Nico
himself.
Collins
Nico Collins
yeah.
was brilliant this weekend.
Yeah.
He is very, very good, but he is just him. And
I think the Browns are winning,
Browns
and I am behind Joe Flacco 100%, even though CJ Stroud is my new favourite quarterback in the NFL. Joe Flacco all the way.
I want Browns to win this just so it can be Browns-Ravens in the next round.
yeah, great. Dolphins Chiefs. I'm also going the Browns.
That is a game whereby I don't think anyone wins. Because the Chiefs aren't as good as we're told, and the Dolphins aren't as good as we're told. I think the Dolphins win it.
Ooh, I'm going Chiefs.
I'll take the Dolphins.
I will take.
This could end up as a shootout.
I will take the Chiefs, but I reckon the exact opposite of a shootout. I think the Chiefs' defense wins this game in a slightly moribund Saturday night viewing. But
10-6.
yeah,
Really disappointing considering it should be a shootout.
Yeah,
these are two good off. Well, they should be two good offensive teams, but the Chiefs aren't.
yeah. If you have like game MVP, it will be Jones.
Yeah. I think for me, the Dolphins' lack of pass rush just gives Mahomes too much time.
Haven't they signed 3 pass rushers?
Yeah, but they're
they're
old.
They're all really old and shit.
Bruce Irvin.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Mahomes playing with no pressure.
And Mean Joe Green.
Mahomes playing with no pressure. Kelsey back fit after a week off. And maybe Kadarius Toney won't drop a pass, but
He will.
He will.
Yeah.
So will Sky Moore. So will Van Scantling. But it won't matter because Butker will kick them to a win. Yeah. Sunday, Steelers at Bills.
Bills.
I'm taking the Bills because it's a sensible thing to do. But like I said, I would not be surprised if the Steelers win.
Because I feel like playing Berserker, I will take the Steelers because why not?
Love chaos, don't you?
I just want to watch the world burn.
No, I'll take the Bills, but it'll be unconvincing. It'll
Yeah.
be like a 3-point win right at the death.
Yeah.
And then they'll get wiped the fuck out in the next round.
Yeah. Packers at Cowboys.
Cowboys all the way.
Yeah,
Cowboys, and I think
'cause
resounding.
Yeah,
Packers'
absolutely.
defense is terrible.
I think it could be a 20-25 point hammering.
Oh yeah, the Cowboys at home as well. It's just
But actually,
that's where they're good.
if the Packers can build for next year, that I think it's good.
Yeah, look, it's a result for them that they got there, but yeah, they're going to lose.
Rams at Lions.
I really wish this game wasn't on at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, same. So Stafford and Goff back where they,
Do you know what? That really annoys me. The whole Stafford versus Goff. They're never on the same field at the same time.
It's just the fact that they were traded for each other.
Yeah, I know.
Because you know.
I'll take the Lions because they're at home.
Yeah, I'm doing the same.
That's the dividing line for me. The Lions maybe haven't been quite what they could have been, but the Rams haven't either this year, and so
the sensible choice is the Lions,
the home team. Yeah, are you going to play the John role here?
Yeah, I'm going to play John role. I think Rams. I think there's a couple of reasons. One, Sam Laporte is injured.
He is.
That's a big loss, and so I just think the Rams they're just playing really well.
Yeah.
It really pains me to say that because I really don't like the Rams. I don't like any other NFC West team.
I like Matt Stafford. Like I a bit like I'm cheering for Joe Flacco, but
I like drunk Matt Stafford. That's fine.
yeah, watching people fall off the stage. But
He's fine. He knew she was a racist.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'll take the Lions.
I'll take the Lions because Gardner Johnson is back the last few weeks, and suddenly the defense looks a bit better. And Stafford still has the propensity to throw some stupid passes every so often. Eagles, Bucks, Monday. Bucks at home.
I'm taking the Bucks.
I'm taking the Bucks.
I'm also taking the Bucks.
Shocker. The Eagles just haven't played well the second half of the season.
Defense is
struggling, man.
like a wet tea bag.
It's bad.
Do love a wet tea bag.
I bet you do.
But who would have thought it? But Matt Patricia has not turned this defense around.
It's such a bad fall from grace.
Mm.
Yeah,
and I know we've kind of said it all season that they've always been one score away from losing up until they got to like 11-1, and then so the wheels are completely fallen off. The Bucks at home, you said it earlier, Baker, Mike Evans against that secondary.
The Bucks will comfortably win this. Comfortably.
I don't know if it'll be comfortably. I think it's
7 points plus. Is that comfortable?
well, I reckon a score.
yeah
Okay.
score.
But yeah,
Jalen Hurts will just get desperate for another interception, or
Well,
he'll get injured because he's been injured most of the last few games.
yeah. Did you see Winfield this weekend? Just for the Bucks was just incredible. So yeah, not what you want to see
Winfield makes a mockery of the Pro Bowl once again.
So, sweetest player of the week.
We've already decided.
Yeah, it was Jameis and Jamal Williams.
Hottest seat.
I mean,
It's Bill.
Bill. It's got to be Bill.
It's Bill. Why hasn't he been fired yet?
It's probably Bill.
Definitely Bill.
Yeah. And MVP of the week.
MVP of the week.
Can I give it to Arthur Smith for effing and Jeffing on telly?
It's Jameis.
Yeah, it's probably Jameis.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I'll carry it, but I mean, yeah, there wasn't a lot happening in that last week, really.
No, it wasn't. There weren't that many competitive games. Baker.
Yeah, Baker was damn good. If you don't want to give it to Jameis, give it to Baker.
Can I just mention, as a Giants fan, it's not been much to watch this year from our team because it's been fucking abysmal. But the last few weeks, watching Terod throw the most beautiful long pass in the league, just absolutely effortless, has actually made my season.
Yeah, but I felt for him when he was throwing. Was it the 2-point conversion? And he threw it behind.
Yeah.
And he just fell to the floor and was like, "Oh, what have I done?"
It's why he's a backup now. He has these, but when he's throwing,
Yeah,
if it's above 50 yards, it's amazing. If it's 6 yards, you're like, oh.
he's comfortably the best quarterback on your roster. He just is. He has been for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's true.
We don't need to talk about them anymore because they're gone. So we'll see you next week when we'll discuss Super Wildcard Weekend and probably discuss what's going to happen to Bill now he's been fired.
Yeah.
Until then, see you later. Bye.